Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. And today we continue R2-D2. We've got issue 78 right here. We have some parts right here. Pretty light, so I'm guessing all of these are plastic, but let's crack it open. Let's see what we got. Alright, here are the parts we get with this issue. We have the left tool compartment door, the left tool compartment itself. We have these 4 cover connectors. They are not all the same. I mean, you can take a look here. You can see this one's got a little notch in it. This one's got the lip on it. So we got to be careful about which one goes where. We've got a couple of hinges here. We got some gripper fingers, a tool hand, a tool probe, a gripper hand, a tool arm, another tool arm, and a couple of 2-arm tubes and tool pivots. We're also going to need the bane of my existence, super glue. Alright, the first thing we're going to want to do is glue the fingers onto the little tool hand thing. So first we're going to have to take them off the screws, and it's important to note that you want to shear it as close to this as is possible on all 3 of these. Looks like these 3 fingers are identical. What's going to happen is we're going to plug them in here and to each one of these and glue them in place. Alright, believe it or not, these actually hold in fairly well without the glue, but you're definitely going to want the glue in there just to be on the safe side. But when you're done, it should look just like that. Next up, we're going to take this puppy, and you can see you've got a little hole here, and it's kind of hard to see, but it is keyed, so it can only go in one way. And again, we're going to want to glue that in place. All right, and with that in place, we can move on to the next step. All right, for this next step, you're going to want to take one of these tubes here and the longer one of these hinges, and you're just going to fit them together just like this. If you take a look real close, you can see there's a hex hole on one side. You're going to want to take one of the nuts that you got and throw that in there just like this, and then you're going to want to take one of those 8mm screws that's got the smooth shaft through most of it. You want to throw that puppy in there, and you're going to want to tighten it so that it still moves freely without being too loose. Now bear in mind, if you take a look, there's a little notch here and these little teeth on here so that it will retain its position, and you can position it however you want. So, you know, move freely is kind of a subjective term. Alright, the final part for assembling this arm is you take this hole here and this peg here, and you can see it is keyed, and you're going to want to glue those together. So they will fit in together just like this, and we're just going to apply some glue and make sure it stays put. Alright, now while we let that dry, we can move on to the next step. Now we get to assemble the other tool, and we've got this puppy right here, and we're going to want to snip it right about here, give or take. You want to make sure this pin doesn't get snipped off. You're going to want that pin in place so you can glue it in the next step. So right about like that. And then you're going to take out this piece, and you can see there is a hole right there. and that is where this is going to go, just like this, and we're going to have to glue that in place. Okay, and with that in place, we can now take this arm here and we'll put that in there, and again we're going to want to glue it in place. It is keyed, so it'll only go one way. Alright, and with that in place, we let that dry a little bit, and we're going to assemble these two pieces the same way we did the last one, with a nut and an 8mm screw. Alright, and as before, it is notched so it will stay in place as you move it. And last but not least, we get to take this arm and we get to attach it here, and again we're going to need some glue to get that done. Alright, and there we go. 2 arms complete. We'll just let the glue dry and we can head on to the next stage. Alright, for this next step, we're going to take the tool housing itself and we're going to attach the tools to it. If you take a look on the bottom, there are some holes here and here, which these will slide into. And you're going to want to note which way around. Make sure that this little thing is facing in this direction when you assemble it, and this is going to go on this side. The other tool will go on the other side in this configuration, just like this, housed just like that. And we're going to want 6mm screws coming in from underneath to hold them in place. Alright, and with those in place, we should be able to just fold them down, just like so. So now they are compressed and we are ready for the next stage. Alright, this next one is going to be a little interesting. We have these hinges here, and they're going to be attached to the door, and they're going to go in like this on either side, on the outside. Now the instructions say to use a 11mm screw. Unfortunately, I only have one 11mm screw, and one of these, I guess, looks like 8mm, give or take. So I'm gonna hope that the 8mm one is long enough to make this work. So we're going to do that first. Alright, in fact the shorter screws seem to work so well that I decided to use it for the other hinge as well. Alright, next up we're going to fit this door onto the toolbox, and you can see here and here there are little spaces for those hinges to slide right in. So if we're lucky, it should go right in, and we're going to use the 6mm black screws to hold them in place. And there we go, all in place and looking great, actually. That is just awesome. Alright, for this next stage, we're going to actually attach the tool compartment to the body panel here. And if you take a look, you've got these screw bases here, here, and here, and here. Those are going to match up with these holes here, 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 and here. It's important to note, though, you want the door open, and you want to slide that through before you attach it, so that you don't get it caught on anything. We're going to use 4 6mm black screws to hold it in place. Alright, and there it is. Looking nice. Yeah, it seems to be seated pretty well. Let's see, yeah, and there it goes. Comes right open, And you can pull your tools out just like that for display. So that is actually quite cool. I like that. I do, however, wish it was motorized, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. Alright, the last step here is we're going to be attaching all of these to the panel, and we're going to start with this one here. This has a little arrow on it, and it's got the lip, a little arrow. There's a little arrow in there. I don't know if you can see it, but this should slide right in. Should being the operative word. Yeah, there it goes. And we will use a 6mm flanged screw to hold it in place. All right. Next up, we're going to take the two L connectors, and these do appear to be the same. And we're going to attach it just like this, and another flanged screw to hold it in place. All right, we'll do the same with the other L connector. And we'll take this last one, and this also has a little arrow on it. Really hard to see on this black plastic, but that's going to face away from the panel in this case. All right, and there you have it. And that actually completes this stage. And there you have it, y'all. Stage 78 is complete. Lots of glue required for this particular stage, which I am not particularly happy with, but I do like that you can get the tools to come out like this, and you got the little panel. Wish it was motorized, but there are enough electronics on this, I think, to keep me happy in the long run. If you like the issue, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.